Hey everybody, welcome back to Late Night News with GoIndieNow, our November edition for 2021. I'm your host, Joe Compton, and I'm joined by
Katie Salidas. How is it November already?
I know, crazy, right?
What the heck? Where did the year go?
And how insane is it that we have like breaking news? I mean, we were just talking off the air that, it's been a month. It has been a last couple of weeks crazy, and we're gonna get right into it. We've got a jam-packed show, everybody. So get ready, strap in, because here we go. Our top story tonight is really breaking news. It really broke this morning, and I'm gonna let Katie talk all about it here. So tell us all about what's going on, Katie.
It was crazy. I heard nothing about this until just recently, but Spotify has now decided to acquire Findaway Voices. They have basically been investing hundreds of millions of dollars to build their podcast business. And now the company's decided to set their sights on another form of audio, acquiring Findaway. And we all know Findaway is kind of the big competitor to ACX. So according to research, the estimates for the audiobook industry are expected to grow from 3.3 billion as of 2020 to 15 billion, 15, by 2027. That's not too far away, which is why, of course, Spotify would want to get involved in this, and to take on Findaway would definitely help them do that, because Findaway is linked to all of the other supply chains, including they have that backdoor to ACX. So Spotify says that they are going to be bringing in Findaway's full team of around 150, and they do plan to build on Findaway's existing investments in the audio industry. So that's a good thing if they buy the company and let them run as they're supposed to, instead of taking them over and reinventing the wheel. They also plan to bring the expanded access, which Findaway has been offering us since the beginning, to Spotify's 381 million monthly active users. So it sounds like a really good thing that they'd be bringing in everything and kind of conglomerating it together. So Spotify's ambition is to be the destination for all things for audio, both listeners and creators. And the acquisition of Findaway is going to accelerate that. The audiobook space, according to Gustav, I'm going to totally screw up his name, Gustav Soderstrom, the Chief Research and Development Officer, says this is going to help them to more quickly meet that ambitious goal. Spotify users tend to go to other platforms to access audiobooks, and Spotify wants to enable the consumption to take place all within Spotify itself. So it is conglomerating it all within its own. But they did say they are planning on using the existing infrastructure with Findaway and its original people. So could be a good thing. Initially, this may see that Spotify users are going to be leveraging the company's open access platform technology to authenticate with existing credentials and access these audiobooks from Findaway, and their other partner, Storytel, which I had not been very familiar with up until now. The open access platform technology, it offers the flexibility for publishers to determine how their content is sold, and that it kind of works with their own business model, meaning that they introduce new ways for consumers to unlock and listen to content. So think of kind of that, the Kindle Vella, where it's tokens for percentages of stories, not even full chapters. That could be part of what we'll see. But right now, going forward, they plan to have Findaway continue to run as normal. So we'll see what's happening as it goes forward, but just keep that in mind that they're already using a token-based system with their open access platform. So even though they're enveloping Findaway, they may try and find a way to merge those two together. So keep an eye on how the audiobooks are going to be delivered at this point. But right now, it sounds like it could be really interesting news. It sounds like it could be a way for Findaway to have a better foothold in the system through Spotify. And maybe it can be something that really goes up against ACX, or it may just be Spotify is just becoming the new ACX. We will have to wait and see.
All right. Let's break this down. All right.
That face right there. That face.
First and foremost, I agree with a lot of what you just said. Spotify is definitely on the level of the Zon and can compete with the Zon in this space and can give them a run for their money. They can also use a lot of what they've already established, like Joe Rogan and a lot of major label acts to help promote this side of their business. But that's not going to benefit any of us. It's not going to benefit a single indie here unless Joe Rogan just has a wild hair up his ass and finds your book out of the millions of books that are there and decides to talk about it. That's the only way that's going to benefit you. And let's be honest, I don't know how much Joe Rogan reads, and what he reads is probably a lot more nonfiction than fiction. So maybe his kids might find a good book and then he talks about it. But those are the kind of things that we're talking about here. And then there's this, which is very alarming. This is the current pay structure for musicians in with Spotify. And you notice on the left-hand side there that little thing that says publisher. So if publishers decide to go this route, and that is one link that you saw, they made 33 cents on $1.50 basically. So it is that little seeping of 5 cents to 6 cents that that's where they're going to have to up their game if they're going to compete with Amazon and ACX on this level, because even ACX as the evil empire gives you a little bit more than that as a taste. And just a smidge. We're talking pennies, but we are still talking those add up, Plus, ACX is known for audiobooks right now, and Spotify is going to have to do a heavy marketing campaign to change that aspect of it, which I trust that Spotify could do. I mean, there's nothing that says they can't. They're very good at that. I mean, obviously, Joe Rogan went with them for a reason. So, he had an empire. He didn't need Spotify. Spotify needed him. Kind of like how Sirius XM needed Howard Stern. It's kind of the same idea. And by putting those two things together, that peanut butter and chocolate, it made a nice peanut butter cup. And that's what Spotify has become, a nice Reese's peanut butter cup. But it is not benefiting any artist on our levels, and even above us, just a little bit above us. The medium leveled artist is getting a trickle down effect that is really tough to live off of. And Spotify has been dangerously flirting with this and talking about how they were going to fix it, and they haven't. And that is the biggest issue. Spotify has the same transparency issues. I mean, that's a little bit more transparent. You at least see it. This is off of their website, by the way. So you see it, but, I'm going to talk about, this story leads into my story about music, indie music, and finding, outlets there. And one of the things that I'm first going to talk about is that 60,000 songs get uploaded a day by new artists on Spotify. 60,000. So you do the math. How many pennies are left over for those people, right? And if they don't get seen, how are we going to, how are we going to change that? So, I mean, Findaway Voices is a great platform. I found them nothing but very open and honest about what they do. but obviously Mark Coker couldn't hold on to them. Smashwords just flailed with their opportunity on this. And so now we're depending on a big corporation to fight another big corporation battle. And we'll see how that goes. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what your thoughts are, Katie, but this is...
Well, if they keep the existing infrastructure, I've used Findaway for a few clients to get their books up. It's fairly easy to use. It's not as user friendly as ACX, but it's fairly easy to use. It does have a lot of access. I do like the ability to get beyond just ACX. I like that they get some of the smaller channels in, and they're constantly working to get other channels out there. And that gives us the opportunity to build on other platforms. So it's a good thing to have that availability.
And
But
let's
yes,
be honest.
when a big corporation does take over, they sometimes screw with what works.
But Spotify is specific with one thing, and that's audio. So you know that the quality may be much, much better and much more increased. And that might be what tantalizes indies to go that direction, at least to try it out to start with, right? So, but I mean, it's not like Amazon who has 5,000 other things that they're doing on their site. That, you know, ACX is a pie, a piece of sliver of their pie. This is the whole ball of wax for Spotify.
But
Audio is
ACX
their thing,
also has roughly 50% of the audio market.
right? I mean, and that Spotify could easily chunk into that. That's. I mean, they get one Stephen King audiobook and whatever. I'm just throwing that out there. That's facetiousness on my part, but we got a lot of comments about this story, and
Yeah, I know it's the wait and see. They said one thing, but are they actually going to do it? I absolutely agree with you, Anita.
yeah, and she meant track record, not track. And Diana says, "Oh, we miss you guys already. We miss you
Aw.
too." Margaret says, "Oh, find a way. Hey guys, back with dinner. Hi." And Rebecca also says, "Hi, long time no see." Yeah, long time no see. It's been, I have this. Oh, I don't know why. I don't know why I put that up there, but all right. Joe Rogan got paid. Yes, he
Of
did,
course he
Josh.
did. Of
Yeah,
course
yeah,
he did.
yep. I mean, his deal's very similar to Howard's in that respect. I mean, and he's going to be the face of that company for a very long time, and they're going to benefit from that. Absolutely, they're going to benefit from that. But yes, it is. Content is making more money than ever, but artists are getting them. Absolutely,
Yep, absolutely.
that's the biggest thing about this. That Rebecca scares.
She should. She should scare you.
But yes, that is the key. And if you're an indie artist out there who does podcasting, who does music, and is looking to get into music, I have a better not opportunity, but better look at what is out there. And I ran across an article on Billboard magazine talking about these funding sources that are coming across, and they are starting to expand their horizons a little bit. And like I mentioned, the 60,000 songs a day that go out onto these sites. So, you see here we have three of them that are leading the charge in Edify, Beatbread, and One RPM. And essentially what these are they're providing various services, and they're leading into they right now they do mostly the marketing aspect of things, where they charge you a monthly fee and they get you out into all the sites, kind of like what Podomatic does, where they put you put your thing in there and then it gets you to the iTunes and all that, and all Podbean does that, and they're basically the conduit and the middleman to do that. But they are moving forward, and they're trying to offer more services like legal services, funding for projects to get you in a studio and then get you pressed so that you can get out there to the world much better. And it's one of those things where they basically do like a consignment idea, and they take their royalties after the back end. And from what they've, the CEO made a statement here about talking about how the CEO, co-founder of Identify, said that, majority of deals are profitable. Each agreement varies, but Identify has a few requirements. Artists keep their ownership of their masters. Investors cannot earn over 50% of the artist's stream profits post recoupment, and artists must retain creative control. So they are putting their foot down on these things. And Beat Bread's CEO, Shav Garg, I butchered that name, no doubt, said that, we want you to have the freedom to choose your own team. A more open platform. Typically, they fund artists with 10,000 monthly listeners on Spotify, and artists design their own deals based on the parameters like term lengths, capital needed, share of catalog, future release royalties from streaming. Then their proposed deals can range from 1,000 to 1 million. Sounds great, right? I don't think any of us are in that range, but they've had 100% success with giving the artists the money, funding them, and they also, seeing some growth. All of that is well and good, but those kind of things take time to build, take time to gather. You're going to need a lot like BookBub does, where you need a certain amount of reviews to be on their site to advertise. Kind of the same concept here with the music. But once you get to that point, you're making a choice. Do I want to run this myself and do, run myself into the ground, or do I rely on these guys to help me do what I really want to do, which is create content and let them manage how the content gets seen and heard and gets me more money in the process of doing those things.
And let's face it, most creators want to just create, and they need somebody to take that back end.
Mm-hmm. So with that in mind, a company, this is the big story, has emerged called HUDL. And what HUDL does is they produce, the opportunity to be seen through their resources. So they are going to design a marketing plan for you. They're going to help you with all of these things that you're talking about. And they do it for artists just starting out. So they've taken the concepts of the other financiers and funders and advertisers and these middlemen, and they've basically said, we want you when you're fresh and you're starting, when you're struggling to get that 100th view or that 100th download. We want to take you and get you to the 1,000 level. We want to take you and get you to the 10,000 level. And so they are really working hard at what they will do for you to start with is they'll take your social media and they'll develop a marketing plan around it. One of the things that this article mentioned and that the CEO said, he said, Instagram alone is not a marketing plan. It is simply, you cannot be your own marketing tool. If you're serious about building a music career, but we see independent artists, bands, and musicians falling into this trap or being misdirected to think every single day in this way that creators can replace things. Can replace, money with likes and comments, and that's what everybody's chasing, and that's what they think is the most important thing. But what they're telling you is, we're going to help you monetize within the boundaries of what you're starting with. So check, if you're a musician, they also do podcasters. They take a look at podcasters and they try and get you to the next level. Yes, it does cost a little bit of money up front, but it's something that I checked out. I thought was pretty interesting. And maybe I'll try it and we'll see how that goes. But, and then I'll report back what I've learned from it. But I just thought, opportunities abound. There's a lot of us out there who make music on the side, who are doing side hustles like podcasting and things like that. And you just don't know how to get it out there. Facebook algorithms aren't helping you, or should I say meta algorithms aren't helping you. YouTube algorithms are getting further and further bogged down. All these things, and you have to learn all that stuff. And let's face it, who really wants to learn all that stuff at this phase in their careers and they just want to make stuff, right? So these little things can help you, and so I thought I'd mention it. I know it's not really newsworthy, but it is something that I think a lot of us are struggling with, especially right now as we get out of this mess we've been in for the last couple of years. And some of us have decided, is it worth it? We've been weighing that in our head. And so this might be an opportunity for you guys to do so. As we lead into the next story, which is technology might be helping us a little bit along those lines as well.
Helping or hurting?
Well, yeah, it's getting kind of scary, right?
I honestly think if you can do this as a test for yourself and be able to report back some realistic statistics on what you've learned, what you've seen, how it actually affected your podcast side of it, that would be the most beneficial, because a lot of times all we find is inflated testimonials from people who are going to just say positive things. We need realistic results.
And one other thing about it is HUDL's just starting, so they're really keen on grabbing people and moving them forward. And are that new weight loss trend that, hey, let's get some before and afters, and you can help us by doing that, and we'll help you out by waiving a fee or two, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of that idea. And so, and Josh is into it. Yeah, Josh, if you go into it too, Josh, we'll have you on and we'll talk about it. And we'll look at it.
Yeah, I think the problem with having to learn all the things and be all the things, it's the burnout. And what causes burnout isn't doing things, it's having to do things that maybe are not in your wheelhouse, but they have to be done. When creators of all different types in the past were creating things, their focus was to create, and they had the managers to do the other stuff for them. With the indie movement, it's become all DIY, but the problem with all DIY is it is burnout inducing. You do need to delegate sometimes. Some people are better than others at doing certain things. We're not all on the same path. And for those of us who can do it all, great. For those of us who can't and we struggle with it, we end up feeling imposter syndrome, because trying to do all the things and failing ends up just lumping more of that pressure.
Well, I think also with DIY, you chase a lot of the things you see that have worked. And it's not, what people don't realize with DIY is that it doesn't, you have to tailor it to your expectations and your abilities. You have to find the things, and maybe it's a little chemistry where you mix and match some things, and maybe some things blow up in your face, maybe some things taste great, I don't know, but you have to figure all that out. And as we get as things just accelerate past us and things get crazier, we're getting into this augmented reality spaces and AI and all of this. And I know, Katie, we have a great story about that and what's going on there. And again, poor audiobooks are getting pummeled tonight, but
Well, audio is the next thing. It's what everybody wants to do. We don't have time to sit and read anymore. So what do? We listen to it in our car. We listen to it at work. Audiobooks have gotten a lot of focus lately because the new level of accessibility is in audio. We can still enjoy those books. But audio AI enabled auto narration is becoming a bit of a question mark, because it has both pros and cons to it. And it's going to be the wave of the future. I think either way we go with it, we're going to have to accept that it is a possibility. So AI-enabled auto narration for audiobooks is fostered by the same technology that taught Siri to speak and Alexa to listen. Basically, it's finding a way to automate human labor out of the equation. So actors are pretty much central to audiobooks. Well-known actors can be a draw themselves to get people to listen to a book. And a great deal of skill actually goes into narrating an audiobook. It's not just reading. And many of you out there who have listened to audiobooks, you've heard good ones, you've heard bad ones, and you've heard the way that a narrator can really bring life to a character. So there's a lot of acting involved into it. And audiobook narrators are kind of in a class of their own. They are part of SAG-AFTRA, the Screen Actors Guild and American Federation of Television and Radio Artists Union. So they do have They do have a collective that supports them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the largest largest labor union that represents employers or performers and I can talk today, really I can. Performers and broadcasters. So the organization, it offers the union perks, the training, the guaranteed minimum rates for recording, health and life insurance to protect the actors under the umbrella. Artificial voices don't require anything and kind of take that out of the equation. And while that does make things cheaper, it's also taking a job away from humans that it was a uniquely human job to do at that point. So the union has two concerns about AI. On one hand, replacing live actors with computerized voices is bad for business. As we just stated, if you don't have the humans narrating it, you've now created pointlessness for that job. It's redundant. The bigger concern, though, is AI's increasing capacity to clone human voices. Now, that can cause some problems because the owner of the voice that was cloned may either be undercompensated or not paid at all for that cloned voice. And while various vendors, of course, are going to go out of their way to reassure customers and say that they have great respect for human narration, devoting all their R&D efforts into making human voices non-existent or cloning them kind of goes against that. So it's creating, again, that redundancy element. Officially, right now, ACX is the only one that says, no, it will not accept AI narration. However, there have been rumors on the Fair Deal for Rights and Audio Narrators group that said that there are some that are slipping through the cracks. So if they are passing through ACX's QA, you can guarantee it's going to be picked up soon, and it's just going to become a thing. Google promotes it. Other vendors are not very discerning about it, and as long as it sounds good, passes QA, you're done. So a lot of going through Findaway, you can get away with using the audio AI narration. So it is becoming a thing. It's becoming something we're going to have to deal with for good or bad. Now, producing it on the plus side does make it a little more cost effective for the indie authors out there. And we all know as indie authors, we're taking on a lot of risk and a lot of our money goes into creating these books, and we need to be profitable in the end, or at least break even for the book to be worth the investment we put into it. So looking at it from that standpoint, yes, if it is cheaper to produce a book, it's going to draw more people into doing it. And again, that's going to feed into that cycle of this is happening, whether you like it or not, whether it's good or bad, this is something we have to contend with, because it's not going to be long before this is accepted all across the boards, ACX included, and ACX owns 50% of the audio market as of right now. There are two vendors right now, among a bunch of them that are doing this, that are starting to pick up a little bit of steam and are starting to get a little notoriety. One is Deep Zen. The other one is, I'm going to say this wrong, Speech Key, I think is what it is.
That's right.
But there are several others that are out there that are already doing this. So it's something that we're not going to be thinking in the next few years. It is happening right now. And I can guarantee you within about 6 months, we are probably going to see a big shift towards this. And we may see ACX officially go, yep, we're doing it now. And that's going to, again, affect the indies and the narrators for good or for bad.
So I've seen, there was a panel I watched recently, and they were talking to voiceover actors and narrators and those guys who do the trailers with the deep voice, welcome to the, whatever. And there has been a few of studios who've decided they're going to use the AI instead of a voice actor. And SAG-AFTRA is a union, everybody, and their contract with Hollywood is coming up soon, and we may see another strike, and this may be a hot button topic that will ignite that strike. So this will be interesting to see. I mean, we can't avoid it. Technology is just running too fast, and it's going to run right into us. But if there's got to be a way to use a human element here. And as Margaret so eloquently puts, sci-fi movie directors aren't doing their job of scaring people off AI, I guess. Yes, they're not. We need better movies about scary AI. But on top of that, it is going to happen. We're going to move into this technology.
And it's
like
not
I said,
a far off
augmented
future.
reality, virtual reality is all going to be incorporating stuff like this, because a lot of what virtual reality does is a lot of voiceover work and a lot of, lot of overdubbing and things of that nature. So when you're dealing with those kind of things, you're going to be, this is going to come up. And so, I mean, I don't know if I could stand a 7 or 8 hour book with Siri reading it to me. I would probably go
But
insane.
it's not
But
Siri's voice though. They're getting to the point where it's becoming almost impossible. They're being able to train to do the inflections to make it sound less robotic and more natural in speech, and it's going to get better as technology gets better. So I'm telling you, we're talking 6 months. We're not talking years into the future.
Yeah. So does the narration take an editor for clarity or whatnot, or is it just input, book, and go? I think it's pretty much input, book, and go.
I'm from what I saw when I was looking at the different sites, there is an element of revision in there after you send them. You listen, you take the notes, and then you send them back.
Yeah.
But it's pretty much upload to book, and there you go for a fee.
The thing
makes
is,
it sound like a human's reading it.
Josh makes an interesting point here, and established narrators will be fine in short term and long term. It makes me think about how many side hustles are we going to see where people are just, and it's happening already. I've seen it on TikTok. Hey, you could make $2,000 a book if you just do this, right? And how many producers are going to come out of the woodwork with this idea, using this technology to make themselves some money. That to me is where it's going to be harrowing, and oh my gosh. And that's, these people don't realize how much work and this stuff is. So low bar, Rebecca, low bar. Yes, I agree.
We'll allow it.
But anyway, so yeah, this is interesting, and we're gonna keep an eye on this as always. So we'll see how that goes. And Margaret says, "Wait, human voices." Yes, we did say human voices. But anyway, that leads us down the staircase that we're running tonight, and we're headed toward more real things that we hold in our hands and ideas like that. And CL Cannon's marketing tip is all about that since this month. So enjoy that, and we'll be right back with more stories. We're gonna have some fun. Everybody who's been looking forward to torching Big Five, tonight's the night. Everybody, you're going to enjoy the last bit of our show. I guarantee it. All right, so stick with us.
Hey guys, CL Cannon here from Fiction Atlas Press, bringing you your monthly marketing tip. Today we got something sort of short and sweet, but it is something that I think is very important, and that is branding yourself and being able to hand out something physical to someone that they can keep and that they can save and find you later. I do this with Vistaprint, and I specifically do it with postcards. I find that postcards are really handy. They will actually fit right into a paperback, and they're easy to hand out. They're a little bit, they're bigger than a business card, which is really easy to get lost. And so I really prefer these. I have actually designed one for Fiction Atlas and one for my author persona. And as you can see on these, it's got kind of my branding on there. It's got my website, and it's got all of my social media. Of course, this was before TikTok became really big, so I don't have that on there. But at Vistaprint, you get loads of these, so you can use these for years, and they're actually really, really cheap. There's usually always a sale going on over there, and you can get hundreds and hundreds of these that will last you, like I said, for years. And they are just so easy to pop into a paperback or into a media packet or something that you're going to be giving away at your table if you're going at a con, or if you're going to be mailing out something in your book. You can just slide it right in there. I usually put one where I'm doing stuff with Fiction Atlas and with my CL Cannon thing. I usually put one in the front, and then one wherever my story is in an anthology or something like that, so they can find it easily. And I usually do either sign them on the back or, of course, I'll be signing the book. So put those in there. It's a nice little thing. It's easy. It's cheap. It also has your branding on it. Like my fiction atlas. I think I made this in either Canva or Crello, or I might have even made it directly in Vistaprint. I can't remember. It's been a while. But these are really easy to make. You can make them in BookBrush, Canva, Crello, Photoshop even. And you want to put your branding on there where people can find you. If you have any special offers, you can even put like a little link to download a free book. You can do download cards like this. Bookmarks are also a really good, handy little thing that you can also get from Vistaprint, and you can stick those into paperbacks, or you can hand them out. Another really cool thing that I got from Vistaprint are these little circle stickers that have my logo on them. And so I put these on my bubble mailers on the back to kind of give a little bit more branding, and they're really cheap. I also got those from Vistaprint, but you can get them also from Sticker Mule, which is a really nice site that you can do branding and little stickers and treats and stuff on. Okay, so that's my marketing tip for this month. Vistaprint is a really great site. It's an easy way to get your brand out there and to help people remember you and not lose your business cards. So that's it for me for this month's marketing tip, but I will be back next month with another tip for you. And as always, if you have any questions about this month's marketing tip or any of the previous ones, or you just have marketing questions, you can email me at info@fiction-atlas.com, and I will be happy to answer your questions. I hope you guys have fabulous holidays, and I will talk to you next month. Bye.
Awesome. So everybody's excited. Vistaprint postcards are great. They have great sales too. Yeah, especially around this time, right? So, that's good. Margaret says, I can't remember if I tried them once and didn't like it or what. I know I used Moo several times. Moo is a good one as well. I got some Vistaprint stickers to use as book plates. Margaret says, that's a classy idea. Working on shopping cart on my site. Looking forward to running sales. There you go. Awesome. That'd be awesome.
Check out gotprint.com.
Nice.
Vistaprint I found to be a little too pushy with all of the extras they try and push on you. Gotprint is, this is what you want to print, we will print it, and they're pretty reasonably priced and quick.
Awesome. Very cool. This goes along with what we were going to talk about tonight in the next staircase. Basically, if you had, we did a story last month about the supply chain, and we've been talking about that on This Week in Indies quite a bit. And right after we did our show, our friends at Ingram Spark decided to announce that they are increasing their pricing 6%,
which we said they were probably going to do.
Right, which we did predict that. But the interesting thing too about the supply chain thing is now the government's been involved. If you haven't been following the news, they've put a bill out there to kind of get these 7,700 ships off of our shores into the docks and unloaded, and they've put some legislation involved in that. I mean, we all know how much we trust the government and how they do things, but it looks like it's bipartisan and with good intent. So we'll see how much gets filtered out by corporate interests and things of that nature. But it looks like we're headed toward, 2020. I think we talked about this last month, where we think probably the end of 2022 is when we're going to start to see this kind of bear a little fruit. But keep that in mind. A lot of people are rushing to place a lot of orders right now, and so you want to make sure that you get your order in, because by New Year, you know, Ingram Spark is going to, increase, and everybody's going to follow suit from that point forward. I think everybody's going to increase. Paper is going to increase, all these things, and I think Vistaprint will be along those lines as well. They may see a little bump, and a lot of these sites might see a little bump from that. Although Vistaprint's been pretty good about keeping their costs low and standard, but we'll see if that comes to fruition in that respect. You know, oftentimes in what we do and how we do it, a lot of it is presentation and presenting yourself and presenting your marketing materials and things of that nature. And for those who don't follow this, who don't know, every year around November, October, November, there is something called the American Film Market. And what the American Film Market is it's an institutional gathering of distributors and buyers and production companies and people trying to get their movies made, get them out there into the world, into the ether. And AFM, which is what their nomenclature is when they're not American Film Market, is actually been online the last couple of years. And so in doing that, this year it took place just this past week in November 2nd to the 7th. I actually got some information and took some notes and things of what I saw, and it was very apparent from all the accounts and people I spoke to about the event how comfortable people were starting to get online. And last year there was no precedent for this event, so it was a kind of a clusterfuck. And this year it's been more cohesive. It had more cohesive flow to it. It seemed like the buying public increased as well, and that's part of what is online is doing for us. And I think this is something that I think for a lot of our fans out there, they're authors who are looking at this. This is something you can mirror a lot. I think there's going to be some hybriding going on here, and I think what's going to be apparent is that this is an opportunity to being online to reach a further reach than you've normally reached in the past. And with that, you're going to be able to pitch to a lot more people, and a lot of the smaller European, South American, and Asian markets were unable to attend this event because it's very, very expensive to go to these things. Even just to get the badge, it's pretty pricey. It's almost 4 digits for the 5 days. And so a lot of people aren't able to afford it, but there's a lot of buyers out there that you don't know about because they don't go to this event. They do things via email and whatever. And so in continuing the market this way and to do this, there's going to be a lot. AFM has said they're going to continue this hybrid model even when they have opportunity to go back to in-person, primary in-person. They're going to have kind of like an online buyer's weekend. They're going to add that component so that a lot of these companies that they've now partnered with and discovered exist, they're going to be able to give them this opportunity. This is also something that is very interesting about the online marketplace. I think, again, to cross over, the opportunity to cram more information and more opportunities to learn into these segments, because you have time zone issues, right? And so you can basically run a conference 24 hours a day if you really wanted to, because there's somebody up at that time that needs the information. And so meetings for the AFM, which usually ran in half-hour increments or hour increments at the event, which opens at 10 a.m. and closes at 5 p.m. because, us film people keep bankers hours. And there's probably about a 2-hour martini lunch in between there. Now, because they're in their pajamas and at home, they could take meetings at 7 a.m. and they can go all the way to 9 p.m. 7 a.m. meeting from LA, and then they can go to a 9 p.m. meeting from New York, So this gives them more opportunities to see more people and hear more pitches, more films, more opportunities to buy. And I think that's going to be the same with what's going on in the author community and book festivals and conferences of that nature. Distributors and buyers are looking for films now that have a global staying power as well. On the VOD market, for people who don't know what VOD is, it's video on demand. And they're going to be doing this for the foreseeable future, because what is happening is that the blockbusters have taken over in terms of theater experiences. Where it used to be there was these niche theaters that showed a lot of indies, and there was these festivals and things like that that had indie film festivals. They're not like actual film festivals, but like viewing parties and things of that nature. So the ability to premiere online or be exclusively online for indies will be very key in buying in the future. A small theatrical run or extended film festival genre may come to become hurtful for an indie, because right now, like I said, blockbusters have dominated the return of theater spaces, and that probably will not change for another year or so, maybe longer. So a lot of distributors are planning for that. Also that when film festivals return in person, because they're looking to get festival goers back, they're going to be featuring a lot more of the higher profile indie films that have big names, big directors, have bigger budgets than a normal indie film would have. So a lot of the niche and the interesting things that you would find at like film festivals, darlings, as they call them, indie darlings, are not going to be as prominent at the in-person events. So you're if you're an indie putting something out there, you kind of want to look for that hybrid model, because that's where you're going to probably be able to be seen. The other thing that was very interesting, and I think is going to be happening in the author world sooner rather than later as well, is NFTs were a big topic. A lot of people are funding their films through NFT. A lot of people are offering distribution through NFT, and blockchain and all those wonderful things are coming to become more rich and interesting in our world. And I think as that happens, we're going to see a lot of that change the landscape for a lot of things. And I think books are the next thing that's going to change for. I really do, because everything's being offered online right now. Amazon hasn't bought into it. And there's the one place that will absolutely just shit on it. But and that like Katie said, it's 50% of the marketplace. Really, for books, it's probably about 80%.
Well, books in general, yes, but audio, they're about 50.
So, but for films, this is becoming something. And the cool thing about what NFTs offer is the opportunity to, like, remember those wonderful days when we had DVDs and you had the extra DVD with the commentary, and you had the extra DVD with the behind the scenes or the extra scenes. Well, with NFT, you could be watching a film and an NFT pops up and you go, hey, if you put in 10 tokens here, we'll give you the commentary to the film, or we'll give you an extra scene, a bonus scene. Just like when you play your little games on your phone and they offer you to buy the characters and stuff like that. Film is incorporating those things, and that's going to become a thing. So a lot of people are looking at that and moving forward, some tips for filmmakers out there who are watching this, if any filmmakers are watching this. When you go to the marketplace, what they recommended is that you first, when you're presenting your film to distributors online, that you have a finite opportunity for them to see it. So basically, you're setting a deadline. When you say to a distributor, I'm going to give you the link to this, you're going to shut the link off in 4 days. They need to see the movie. That gives that sense of urgency for the distributor. And the distributor, of course, when they see the movie, they're going to love it and they want to buy it. So, you're going to be ahead of the game pushing that forward. So that's a great tip, I think, to do that with. When you're looking at putting your film out there for festivals. You want to look for the ones that have the hybrid model, the in-person and the online, because you're going to be more successful online. Because what's going to happen is these smaller markets are also not only just not attending markets, they're not attending film festivals. So if you're in the Nantucket Film Festival, nobody fucking goes to the Nantucket Film Festival unless you live in Nantucket. I mean, it's just reality. I mean, maybe the filmmakers go there and, but distributors don't go there, but they will if it's online, because why not? I've been to like 20 film festivals in the last 2.5 years because a lot of them are online. I can just go and access them, and then I can go talk to the person that made the film and just do an online interview. So all of those things are something you want to keep in mind. And if you're looking at financing for your film or your book or your proposal, and I think this is the next thing, Kickstarter's starting to offer it, NFT, you might want to do that. You might want to think about it, because you can get your shit funded pretty fast through that aspect of it. So again, the world's moving fast.
Sounds like everything's turning into tokens. It really does. Everything's turning into tokens.
It's crazy. So
I'm not on board with the NFTs right now. I think it's another way to incrementally cash grab.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, but this is the world we live in, and this is how it's going. So you get on board or you get left behind, right? And yeah, Margaret says the world is an arcade.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, pretty much.
Exactly. Instead of trading in your tickets for crappy items, we're now making everything worth tickets.
Yeah, it's incredibly, it's really insane,
I think it's going to get worse before it gets better, but we're definitely snowballing towards some kind of serious upheaval.
The one cool thing about NFTs that I will say is that it's going to afford you opportunities to get more involved with the film process itself and the film, and get closer to the film. I think filmmakers are reluctant to use social media because of the algorithms and things like that, which is where I would probably reach out to more people. Like I would if I had a Facebook group if I have a page for my film, I'm putting extra scenes on there. I'm putting commentary tracks on there. I'm doing all that, but I'm thinking ahead of the curve, and that's a lot of work. And people know that I don't shy away from a lot of work. So I'm okay with that. But a lot of people aren't. A lot of them don't even want to be online, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then authors are the same way.
It's not fun. It's really not fun when your social media becomes your workplace. Yeah, it's not.
So, anyway. That being said, Katie has a small update on Audiblegate, and then we're going to get to punching.
Just a little tiny update. We did have an anniversary, not one we want to celebrate, but October 10, 2020 was the day that authors and narrators awoke to discover that their sales had been inexplicably wiped from their dashboards. So in memory of October 10th, dang it. Yeah, there you go. Let's take a moment of silence here. That is where Audiblegate came from, to rise up and join together and to fight against ACX and the way that they're ripping off all authors and narrators as well. So they have been making progress. I know it's been slow. I know our updates haven't been a lot of great information that you want, but that's how the legal process works. So a positive right now from what's happening on the Audiblegate legal fund. They currently have $47,000 of their $70,000 target. This is amazing. This is going to go a long way to help the fight. They have a little bit more to go. So if you haven't donated yet, please either donate or share the donate link from the Audiblegate website. That helps too. If they can get the legal fund completely funded, they should be able to make a real dent in tackling ACX and getting our fair distribution rights.
Boom. The overlay that started it all for us. There.
I can't believe it's been a year. I can't believe it's been a year, but wow. And they're still doing it to us. They are still, until they are made to stop, they're going to keep doing what they're doing, and they keep taking away from hardworking authors, hardworking narrators, and they are the biggest. They control 50% right now of the audio marketplace. So
Well, guess
it's going to be
what?
a big fight, but they're so close. They're so close to getting the funding completed so that they can move forward.
Well, guess what? The little guy is going to make some victories here tonight. It's been a bad November for the Big Five. Let's just put it that way. Starting with the idea that, if you haven't been following, there was a suit laid against the Big Five and Amazon for monopolizing audiobook ebook pricing. And so there was a class action suit that was filed, and it is, the Big Five and all the wonderful, powerful lawyers that all of them have filed a dismissal, tried to get it dismissed. Well, that fell a little bit on deaf ears, but it's still being considered. And so the folks who are pressing the class action have filed a counter agreement, and to state their claim why it can't be dismissed. And they're following a precedent that happened. And I was just learning about all of this. So in separate motions filed last month, Amazon and Big Five argued that the lawsuit accusing them of conspiracy to fix ebook prices was illogical and should be dismissed. But in a lengthy opposition brief filed this week, which was last week, lawyers for a potential consumer class portrayed their case as the second act of the Apple ebook case that happened in 2015, and insisted there's more than enough evidence for the case to proceed. In this 56-page filing, lawyers for the plaintiffs insist that the existence of the most favored nation clauses in Amazon's contract of the Big Five publishers, the crux of the plaintiff's case, is sufficient enough to allow the case to proceed, especially given it was the same mechanicisms the five major publishers and Apple used to eliminate price competition from the consumer ebook market in 2010. So in 2015, this suit won, and Apple had to pay $450 million as part of a settlement. It went all the way to the Supreme Court, and in 2016, the Supreme Court upheld the ruling and stuck it to Apple. So, we are well on our way. I think that this will survive. And then on Tuesday, November 2nd, the DOJ filed an antitrust lawsuit against Penguin Random House and Simon Schuster, blocking the merger of these two conglomerates into one. We'll see how far that goes, but a lot of lawyers are going crazy right now, and a lot of retainers are being had, and a lot of money is being thrown to survive. But yes, let's start jabbing.
Yeah, stop the monopolies. The monopolies are what's causing all the problems.
Yeah, if you haven't read about this Apple thing, it's fascinating and it's very interesting, and I highly recommend it. And I'll put some links up after the show to go check out and read about it, because it was amazing for me. It was very educational. I had no idea about this. I don't know why I didn't hear about this, but
that was a few years ago. But I remember it.
It was when I was infant indie, so I was too young at that time. My young indie ears couldn't hear about it. So, but now that I'm fully grown and pretty much bitter old man indie, I'm pretty much on the fence about all that. So, but yeah, it was interesting. So yeah, the Big Five had a bad couple weeks. So we'll see how that goes. There's no timetable for the decision to be made about the dismissal. So you know how courts go. This may go on for a couple of years. We'll be here to cover most of it, if not all of it. Who knows how long we go, but we plan to be here in the foreseeable future. And especially next month, December 10th, you want to come and join us for our season finale. We've decided to make the season finale again, or the year-end finale, whatever you want to call it, an AMA. So come and ask us all your questions, and we will take you on. So, that'll be a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun with with the last one we did. So, come and make sure you join us and ask a lot of good questions, which you all did last time, and we really appreciate it. If you're missing Kate, you want to see more of Katie Salidas, and who doesn't? I think everybody would demand that. You can do so not every Saturday night, most Saturday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern for Spilling Ink, the show that takes you behind the books with the authors that write them. I know I butchered that, but I came close. And if you're doing NaNoWriMo and you don't know what the hell to do with it, once you're done, Katie has a great book for you to check out. It's called Write and Edit That Damn Book. Now you've written a book, so edit the damn book. And Katie Salidas will help you do that. Go check that out and go get that book right away. And of course, Katie has written a ton of shit, like you can see there. And
just a couple books.
And she released a book under her pen name for erotica. So go check that out as well. I'll have some things coming out here in the near future as well. We're working on a couple of things, and GoIndieNow has always got stuff going on. We've got our show on Sunday, which will be great. We're going to be talking actually on Sunday in the roundtable about virtual writing groups and how helpful they are or aren't, how the meta algorithms and things are going to work with virtual groups, and how much we're all dreading having to call it meta instead of Facebook in everything we do, and all of that fun stuff. So that's real exciting. And yeah, that's all we got for you. We ripped through a lot of stuff in an hour. So
yeah, we did. Lots to cover.
Hope you all enjoyed it. Hope you all got something out of it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the lively chat. I know there was a lot of good conversations that didn't relate to anything that we were talking about in the chat, which is usual, but that's great. I'm glad y'all are having a space where you can get together and talk. We're more than happy to provide that for you. Because why, Katie?
Because it's always time to go indie now.
We'll see you next month. Bring your questions, people. We want them.